Good morning. Welcome back to the Red Mic. Happy Friday. Glad you're here. Today's Red Mic message, Raiders of the Lost Parts. You can almost hear the theme song in the back of your head, right? I want to start off today by saying thank you. And I'm being serious. After a couple of emails and an executive escalation, somebody at Stellantis came through. I may have mentioned, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, I don't forget. A few weeks ago, my wife's Stelvio, it's an Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Stella. We've mentioned Stella before. Went into the shop, gone into limp mode, and it needed a coolant valve replaced. The part in and of itself is rather unremarkable. It's part of many of the Stellantis, Chrysler, Alpha, they've got like 14 brands all under the same roof. It's a it's a it's a fairly commonly used part, but it was on massive back order. But after some emails and an escalation to their executive team, Stellantis found the part miraculously. Now, before I started reaching out to all the different executives, I was basically being told that this part existed somewhere between Narnia and the warehouse from Raiders of the Lost Ark. And then suddenly, good news, we've located the part. Well, that's outstanding. And I guess the secret supply chain technique is copying enough executives on an email until basically it's the equivalent of the Joint Chief of Staff and, everybody at NORAD getting involved. And all of a sudden they go from DEFCON 5 to DEFCON 1, or is it the other way around? I forget. It's been too long since I've seen the movie War Games. I do appreciate the intervention from their executive team. The guy I spoke with there, he was professional, he was responsive, and he was very helpful. And, I understand problems happen, supply chains get messy. I mean, during COVID, my wife's vehicle was laid up for almost 2 months because the part was, you know, somewhere in the Gulf or who knows. Back orders happen, and I get all of that, but this seems to me to be like a systems lesson with a, hashtag Fun Friday sort of bent on it. If a problem can suddenly be solved once the issue reaches executive visibility, then the problem, in my opinion, was not inventory, it was process. Because regular customers should not have to execute a corporate hostage rescue operation just to get the right part, a coolant valve. That's not a supply chain, that's an escalation chain. I also want to publicly compliment our mechanic, Edgestone Automotive, Southwest Austin. We trust them completely. Professional, communicative, honest. When we needed a temporary replacement vehicle that wasn't going to cost us, $40 to $80 a day, thank you, all the various rental companies. They offered a reasonably priced rental slash loaner option instead of, acting like they were giving us the keys to a Gulfstream jet or something. Excuse me. Allergies still kicking my tail. And, people can handle bad news. They can handle delays. But what they don't like is silence, confusion, feeling trapped inside a system. It shouldn't just work for the loud person who's willing to escalate it up the food chain. And it's more than just car parts. I've had similar issues with Walmart. I have had issues with a number of different entities. And by the way, there's a website you need to go check out. It is called, what is it here? It is called the Elliott Report. It's www.elliott, ELLIOTT.org. They are a consumer advocate group, and they have a database full of executives from a ton of different companies. Do they have about every company? No, but they have enough of them. And what they recommend is that you start with the lower level of executives, give that, some time. And then if that doesn't work, move to their higher executives. That's what we did. We started with the lower level people and said, hey, supply chain issue, what the heck? Surely you agree that this is unacceptable, that we should have to wait 4 to 6 weeks for a part that's fairly common. Do better, right? That first email, about 10, 12 days didn't go anywhere. So then I escalated it to the higher executives on Tuesday of this week. Wednesday is when Stellantis reaches out. And by within an hour of me getting contacted from them, my mechanic was calling me from Edgestone saying, hey, they contacted us. They've got the part. We're going to be getting it tomorrow. Depending on when we get it, we could have Stella back on the road for you by close of business Friday. Realistically, it's probably going to be Monday, though. Okay, perfect. That's great. And again, it's bigger than car parts. It happens, unfortunately, in government, healthcare, telecom, insurance. It seems like escalation is part of the modern economy. Somewhere along the way, we started building systems that respond better to escalation than to prevention. And eventually, organizations wake up wondering why everybody's angry all the time. Nobody wants to feel powerless over something that ultimately is small. It worked out in our case, and hopefully Stella will be back on the road soon. And hopefully, somewhere inside Stellantis, there's a warehouse employee wondering why 3 vice presidents suddenly needed a coolant valve as if Indiana Jones was going to be carrying it through a collapsing temple. That's today's Red Mike message. Again, not necessarily helpful, I guess, but maybe if you look at it from the systemic value, maybe you can put these things in place in your own life. I hope you can. I appreciate you being here. Go out, have a great day today. Finish up the week on a high note, knock the cover off the ball. I'll see you on Monday. And until next time, don't forget, as always, life is short. Drink the bourbon. I'll see you.